Everyone, I hope you are doing good. Today we are going to learn more about Python and I'm going to teach you Python from scratch. And in my previous video, I taught you people how to run and write and run both your first Python program. And now we are going to learn some advanced concepts and I'm going to teach you Python very quickly and you will really enjoy this video. So let's get started. So let's start. The print command, as I already told you, is used to print anything, a variable or a welcome message or a string or anything you would like to. So we are here, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare the variables. For example, a variable can have an integer value. A variable can be a float, for example. A variable can even be a string, high, for example. And we can also declare a variable as a boolean. For example, it can have a value of true or false. It totally depends how you want to give it. So these are the different values that a variable can have. And now what we are going to do is we are going to print these. For example, if I print A and I run this code, the code will run and show you the output. Let's see what's the output. It should display a welcome with the value of 32 right here, you can see. So if instead of A I print B, it's going to show me the output as 43.5 here, you can see. Let's see the output, how it shows us. Welcome 43.5, and let's see how it shows us the value of D. Let's run it. Okay, welcome false. So these are the basic types of variables. You can declare an integer variable, you can declare a floating point variable, it can be a string, or it can be either a boolean, a true or a false. So the way we use the print function, we have also a function to take input from user. For that we use input, and we are going to display, for example, a welcome message for the user, or we are going to ask the user what is your name, for example. So this is going to take input from the user. Let's run this and see what output it displays. Okay, here we are going to wait for a second. What is your name? Okay, now it is waiting for me to enter anything. I did not enter anything, I just pressed enter, so it is just going to exit. So the thing is that here I would have to use a variable to store the value that user would enter when he or she inputs whatever. For example, name is equal to what is your name. So whatever the user enters on the console when we run this program, it would be saved in the variable called name. And we are going to then print the value of this variable by using the print command. For example, I'm going to welcome this user, welcome, and then I'm going to use this concatenation operator that is used to basically concatenate the strings. So welcome is a string, and the name would whatever value you input, it would be saved as a string. So whatever I print on the screen, it would be print on the screen. So let's run this program. So here you are going to see the output. It will say what is your name. Okay, so what is your name? I'm going to type AYESHA, and then I'm going to press enter. So this string Aisha that I've entered, it would be stored in the variable, this variable called name, right? So I'm going to press enter here, and it is printing this, welcome Aisha, like this. So we are now going to work on type conversion. For example, we have been taking input like this. A name is equal to input, and then like print anything we want to. What is your age. So I've told you already that the name would have something, any value that we entered, and it would be in the form of string. The data type would be string. So for example, I'm going to rename it as age. Okay, so I want to enter from user the year of birth, and then I want to calculate their age. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to then find out the birth, from birth year I'm going to find the age. So then I'm going to give for example 2023 minus minus age, and I want to store it in another variable age1 for example, and then I'm going to print this. Let's see what happens. Age1. So let's run this program and we are going to see the output just in a few seconds. So we have taken input from user. I'm going to enter my birth year 1982 for example, and then I'm going to press enter. Now the program has stopped working. It is not showing you output and there is an error, and you can see the error is in line 9. Right here is our line 9, and it is saying that this minus operand is unsupported because it works on integers and we have a combination of integer and string. So this is an int it is referring to, and this is the str it is referring to. So when I'm saying int, it is referring to this, and when it is saying str, it is referring to this. So we have to convert this age variable, which is of string or str data type, to integer variable so we can perform the minus operation. So simply you are going to write int age. So what will happen here, that whatever you have input in age would be converted from string to integer, right? And now we would be able to perform this minus operation. So let's run this again and let's check out the output. Right here it will ask about what is your birth. Of course it's birth year I'm asking for, so I'm going to input right here my birth year, right here 1982, and then I'm going to press enter. Now it is showing my age 41. Why? Because we have now converted our age, our variable age, from string to integer. So in the same way you can convert these values from string to, for example, float age. You can also convert it into bool age. It totally depends on your need, whenever or whatever value you want to change and what data type you want it to be. So here we are going to do a little sample program. I want you people to try it as well. We are going to input two numbers from the user. We are going to then make a simple calculator that will add, subtract, multiply and divide these numbers. So we are going to take input and then enter first number, then we are simply going to copy it. Just a minute, let's copy it, and then we are going to give this second, enter second number. Then we are going to add these numbers is equal to int first plus int second, and simply we are going to print the sum. Simple. So let's run this program It should first ask me to input first number. When I input the first number, it is going to prompt to enter another number, which would be our second number. And then what we are going to do is we are going to add these numbers. So first of all, we have this number, for example, 23. Then we'll press enter. Then we'll enter again 23 and press enter. And here you can see the output is 46. So what if we do this? Print first plus second. So let's see what happens here. Right here. Okay. So let's run this program now. Let's see what's the output. Okay, 20, enter, 30, enter. So we have two outputs. The first one, this line, add is equal to int first plus second, so the output is 50. And for the second one, we did not convert the first and the second number. Right here, we printed it directly, so it is concatenating two strings. First was 20, the second was 30, so it simply concatenated these strings. So let's make it the program a calculator. We are now going to subtract it, and for subtraction we are simply going to use the same code. Let's see, and instead of just a moment. Okay, so we are going to, instead of adding, we are going to subtract this, and then in div we are going to divide these numbers, which would be like this, and then we are going to print add, then we are going to print sub, and then we are going to print div, sub, and then div. Okay, sorry, right here, div. So what we have done is we have added, subtracted, and divided the two numbers, and we are going to print these numbers. So let's run this program again. Okay, the output is going to be shown here. Now I have, oh sorry, there is an error. I have added two equals. Let's run it again, and we'll see what's the output. So of course, while you're typing, while you are writing your code, you may encounter certain errors, but of course it's too obvious. The line number is given, you can figure out. Let's add 20, give 20, 20. It is now going to, first one is the sum, 20 plus 20, then it's the and finally the division. Division gives answer as a floating point number, because of course it's again a number. So now let's have a look at some interesting functions that are related to our string. We are first going to initialize a variable, Python programming. It is a str type, a string type variable, and it is basically a variable that we declare. It is an object. So as everybody knows that object have certain methods and attributes related to it, so we are going to use certain methods of the string data type or the string object D we have created. For example, D dot, when we type U double P E R upper, it's a method. Okay, it will convert the D object into uppercase. Let's run this program. We'll here see our output, and it will convert our string object into uppercase. You can see the output. Python programming is totally in uppercase. So this won't change our original string D. This string D, it is, or the object of type string D would remain intact, and here just we are changing it to uppercase. So let's see. We are going to print D. So let's see what D is. Let's run this. When you run the program, it is first going to convert the string into uppercase in this particular line, and then it is going to print simple Python programming as we gave already. So you can also use, instead of upper, you can give lower. When we give lower, let's run this. So it was converting our string into lower, which was already in lowercase. So there are many other methods as well. For example, we have a method name as find. If you want to find a particular string, a particular character in your string, you can find it. And what it is going to do is it is going to return the index of this particular character. For example, P starts with a 0, Y would be 1, T would be 2, and so on. Same way we have index of arrays. So the string has certain positions, and the first letter would occupy the index 0. So let's see how this works. It will find the string and return the position of this particular character in the string. So let's see what does it return. Okay, so it is returning 1. As you can see that Y was on the first position. For example, if I want it to return T, let's see what does it return. Let's run our program and let's see the output. So the output is 2 here, right? Because T is at 0, 1, to second position. So in the same way, we have a lot of functions that are related to string. You can simply write this and press dot, and you'll see a list of functions that are supported for string type object. Okay, so now we are going to start the if statement. And if is basically used when we want to perform some task based on a particular condition. For example, x greater than 6, x less than 6, or we have grades and we want to print percentage. For example, if the marks are greater than 70, then we have to give grade A, or if the marks are less than 40, the student is failed, and so on. So before proceeding, we are going to see certain operators. We can check the condition based on less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, and if we want to check that if both the variables that we are comparing are equal, we don't use a single equal, we use double equal. Why? Because as you have seen, a single equal is a assignment operator. For example, like this, we use it to assign values. So when we want to compare that whether one value is equal to another or no, we are going to use the double equal to sign. Another operators that we are going to use are logical operators. For example, and means we want to compare two numbers. We have given two conditions and we want to proceed only if both the conditions are true. Then we use and. Then we also use or, and in comparison to that we can use double this, and for or we can use this symbol as well. So if we want to compare two conditions, two values, and if both are true, then we are going to proceed in case of and or means that if any one of the condition is true, then we are going to proceed. So these are certain operators that we have discussed. Now we are going to do, for example, we have a variable x is equal to 56. Now we want to compare it that if the value of x is greater than 50, then we want to perform some tasks. So we are going to give a colon and then press enter. Then it is indented itself. I haven't done it. Automatically it's going to be indented. It means that any code that appears here, it will be the part of if statement. For example, I want to print greater if it is greater. So now greater will be printed. I'm going to press enter and then I'll print backspace once. So whatever I write here, for example, I print high here. Now this high would be the is not the part of if statement. It would be executed whether our condition x greater than 50 is true or false. So we are first going to try out this code. Let's run this. When you run this code, it should print greater because x is 56 and 56 is greater than 50. Okay, so there is an error, just a small error. Okay, we are going to correct it. Now let's run it again. So what it is going to do, it is going to print greater. Why? Because 56 is greater than 50, that it must print greater. Uh, if I give less here, let's see, what does it print? Okay, the code is running. Let's see the output. Okay, the output would be nothing. Why? Because this condition is false. X is not less than 50. X is 56 and 56 is not less than 50. That's why this code won't run. So this is how if conditions work. For example, we want to check something else. If, for example, this condition is false, then we want to proceed further. We want to print less. What we are going to do? We are going to give else colon, then press enter, again indentation. It means that whatever code I am going to give would be a part of this else, and then we are going to type less. So x less than 50, which means that 56 is less than 50. If it is true, then this will be printed. If this condition is false, then this less must be printed. Let's run this code now. Okay. So this code is going to print less. Let's see less. Why? Because 56, we have given the condition of less. 56 is less than 50. The condition was false, so that's why it's printed the word less. So that's how you can check for conditions and so on. Now let's do a practice program. I want to input a number from user and say two numbers, okay, and then we are going to compare those numbers and we are going to print the greater number. So first number would be input, just a moment, input first num, then we are going to give D is equal to input second num. Okay, now we are going to compare. If C is greater than D colon, then what should I do? I want to print first is greater, okay, and if this condition is false, again I'm going to go backspace. Here I'm going to give else, and now here I want to print that second is greater, okay. So let's print here second is greater. Fine, let's see how this program runs. Okay, so this has to be indented. Let's run this program and let's see what's the output of this program. This file is now running and we are going to see the output in a while. Okay. First num is, for example, 32. Second num is 20 and enter. First is greater. Why it has given us first is greater? Because of the fact that C was greater than D. The first 32 is greater than D. Now let's run the program again, and now we are going to give the first number smaller and the second number greater. So let's see. Now it is asking for first number. I'm going to give 20. Oh, sorry, 20 right here. 20. 45. Second number, so it would say second is greater. So that's how it all happens, and we do comparison, and this is an example that I've given you people, and you can also practice a lot of other examples, and that's it for the if conditions. The loops. What are loops? If you want to print multiple statements at a time, and we want certain statements, for example, want to print number from 1 to 1000. So what we are going to do, are we going to write the print statement 1000 times? No, we are going to use loops. Loops are used to loop through to print a certain statement a specific number of times. So for loops, we have two types of loops, the while loop and the for loop. So first of all, we are going to do the while loop. In while loop we are going to print, for example, we want to print number from 1 to 100. Okay, while for that we have to initialize the variable to 1. Okay, now the variable will be initialized to 1, and we are going to put the condition that while x is less than 1 less than equal to 100 colon, okay, right here print x, because we want to print values from 1 to 100. Now here the thing is that we are saying while x is less than equal to 100. So of course what we have to do, we have to increment this value of x. First x is 1, it will check the condition 1 is less than or equal to 100. Okay, good. Print what? 1. Then increment 1, that is 1 plus 1. Then now when it comes back here again, x would be 2. Compared to, if it is less than or equal to 100, print it. Then increment again. Now 2 plus 1, it would be 3. So compare 3 less than until x becomes 100. 100 is less than equal to 100, print 100. Then increment again. Now x will become 101. 101 is less than equal to 100. No, 101 is not less than equal to 100. So now the condition of the loop will fail, and loop will no longer execute, and it will come here, right here, and whatever you give after this x is equal to x plus 1, it would be executed. So let's see what's the output of this program. Okay, you can see that it's a long output, and it is printing all the number from 1 to 100 and so on. The list goes on. So my question is that if we don't want to print a sequence of numbers, for example, if we want to print even numbers, right? If we want to print even numbers, then what we are going to do? We are going to start it with a 0 and up till 100, and instead of incrementing 1, we are going to increment 2. So first it would be 0, condition is true, 0 is printed, 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. 2 is an even number, 2 is less than 100, yes, true, print 2. Then 2 plus 2 is 4, it's again even number, compare 4 with 100, so on, and print all the numbers, even numbers between 0 and 100. Let's run this. Okay, so here you can see we have all the even numbers from 0 to 100. It is starting from 0 to 4, 6, 10 and so on. So that's how we have run our while loop. In the same way as we have a while loop, we have a for loop, and with for loop we give for, and then we give any variable x in, we have to give range. Range means that we have to give the starting value, for example starting from 1 till 101. It means previously in while we had to declare a variable x and we had to initialize it, start it from 1 and then increment it and go on. But the for loop is flexible. 1 means that the value of x will start with 1, and then in every iteration it is going to increment by 1 automatically. We don't have to tell it to increment. 101 means it is going to run till the value of x is 100. 101 is not included. That's why I have given 100. Okay, so the last value in range, it is not included in the loop. So it is going to print from 0 to 100. Give a colon at the end and then give the print command, and we are going to print x in it. So it is going to print all the numbers between 1 and 100 excluding this 101. So let's run this. And we are going to see our output very soon. It is printing as you have seen, and it started from all over here 1. And you can clearly see here that I already told you that 101 won't be included. So it is printing all the numbers from 1 to 100 right here. Okay, What if we don't want to, by default it will increment by 1 only. If you want to increment by 2, 3 or 4, you are simply going to write another value 1, comma 101, comma 2. So now x will be initialized by 1, and in every iteration it would be incremented by the value of 2, and the condition will be true, or the for loop will run until the value of x is less than 101. Okay, so let's run this. It is going to give us all the odd numbers between 1 to 100. Let us see the output. What we are going to study is lists, or we can also call them arrays as in other programming languages. As I have told you before as well, we have a variable. For example, x is equal to hello, right? It can be string, it can be integer, float, or any value we can give to it. So for example, if you want to create a list of variables, like you want to have multiple variables, so you can use this same x, any name you can give this list. Then the first element is, for example, apples, the next is mangoes, the last is kiwi. For example, here we have created a list. Unlike variables which has a single value, this list has multiple values, and if you want to print all these values, we are going to use any kind of a loop, but I'm going to use here the for loop x in range. I'm going to start from 0 till 3. There are total three elements in the array, so I'm going to use in the list, so I'm going to use 3. Keep in mind it would go 0 apples. Now the elements are accessed based on their index. So this apples, the first element of array, it is at index 0. Second element mangoes, it is at index 1. The last element kiwi, it is at index 2. So you have to remember the array index always start with a 0, and we are going to traverse through 3 because 3 is not counted. So 0, 1, 2, 3 elements of the array. Then we are simply going to print brackets, and then we are going to give the name of array. Okay, fine. Here we are going to give n because the name of array is also x. So x, and then in curly brackets n, which means x is the array, n is 0 at first, so the first element of array. Then it is going to be 1, the second element of array, and so on. So it must print all the elements of array, apples, mango, and kiwi. So let's see what's the output of this code. Here we have all the 3 elements of arrays printed one by one. Here also we can use if statement. For example, we write item, and if it's not a fruit, we are going to print it's not a fruit, and we are going to compare it. For example, we have cucumber, so then we are going to give if statement, if item equal to the name of array and then the index n, which means check the first element of array. If it is equal, value is equal to that, print fruit. Else it is going to print else colon, enter, tab, enter. It's going to print vegetables, right? Okay, we are also going to indent this here, and that's it. So inside the for loop, it is going to check the value of item. If item is equal to any value of the list we have mentioned, apples, mangoes and kiwi, it would print fruit, otherwise it is going to print vegetables. So let's run this program. The favorable output must be vegetables. So let's see. It is basically comparing the value of the variable item with the value of the here you can see the vegetables is printed 3 times, because all the 3 times first it is comparing the item cucumber with first element of array apples. It is not equal, that's why it prints vegetable. Then it goes back again it compares cucumber is not equal to mangoes, it prints vegetables, and so on. Okay, so we don't want it again and again because in every loop this condition would be false and it is going to come here and print vegetable again and again. So there is a statement known as break. For example, if you want that when a particular condition is true or either false, you want to break the loop. When break is encountered, the loop won't run anymore, even if it's the first iteration or the 5th iteration or the last iteration. So if item is equal to xn, it means that if I have given apples here, then it will and it is equal to one of the items in my array, so of course it is going to match, and then it is not going to run the loop anymore, it is going to break. But here I am going to give cucumber so that it goes to the next statement, and in else as well I have to give the break statement. So in both the cases, if the item is a fruit, if it is matched, fruits would be printed and the loop would break and end. And in the other case, if item does not match any of the values in this loop, then it will come here, print vegetables, and break won't run anymore. So let's see. So hopefully vegetables would be printed only once whenever the condition of else is fulfilled, because vegetables is here printed only once. Why? Because item is cucumber and this item is not found in our array of fruits. That's why it is printing vegetables, and it is printing only once because of this break statement.